Greetings! Welcome to another episode of Porygondolier. In today's installment, Unown returns to the channel for another go at Pokémon Red. Last time we used Unown X, which came equipped with a Psychic type hidden power, but today we're using Unown R, with the power of punches and kicks and stuff. Psychic was good, but I think fighting might be even better. In fact, this could be the shortest Unown run of all time. I name myself Jim and set off on my journey. Oak wants to give me an eyeball, so I swing by his lab to get my eyeball. I skip the nickname and... wait, is that a... no, that can't be right. John has a Squirtle, and while I normally give my Pokemon average stats, to match with my previous Unown run, I've gone with the best possible stats it can have to give it a fighting type hidden power with a base power of 70. These values also explain why it's an R. I went into all the nitty-gritty details last time, but today there are more important things that need to be done, like punching Rattata. Incredible! Fighting type moves are the best! Now let's punch this bird.
Fist of the Beast King!
Our first big challenge is of course Brock, and this will be easy since his rocks are weak to fighting. I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself. So Weedle is one of a small number of Pokemon with a 4 times resistance to fighting, and so hidden power, even with its rather respectable base power of 70, is pretty much useless. Oh, that hidden power missed due to a programming oversight. Rather an odd thing for the game to admit to. I'm pretty sure that Brock is going to be easy, so I don't really want to spend an hour training up to beat a Weedle. Therefore, right off the bat, it's time to start struggling. Struggle is a normal type move with a base power of 50 that deals 50% of its useful damage back as recoil. To use it, I simply need to whittle down Hidden Power's PP, which is easily achieved by battling this wild Kakuna. Struggle doesn't exactly guarantee the victory though, because poison. But this doesn't take too long at all. Thankfully, I have an antidote and now we can go see Brock. But before that, I figure that Route 3 might be a bit tricky, so probably best to get some EXP from this guy. But, well, never mind, let's go fight Brock. Hidden Power is, as expected, pretty good. The problem is, Unown is maybe a little bit underleveled, and that defense stat isn't winning any awards. But hey, we beat Geodude, so might as well just keep trying and bag the Geodude EXP each time we black out. And we black out quite a few times, but at level 10 we get a really good fight. Critical hit to start things off, and Geodude's tackle is quite a bit less scary at level 10. Another crit to finish it off, and now the big deciding factor will be if Brock decides to use Bide or not. Since we have no way to skip a turn, Bide is basically game over. Another crit there. Yeah, this is quite a lucky battle. Onix comes in with a tackle, 2 HP, 1 more hidden power, and that's the first badge. Route 3 is a bit of a pain, but nothing we can't deal with, and I do a few non-mandatory battles here to rack up some EXP. I also need to catch a bird for flying, but Unown is just too strong, and keeps knocking them out with Fist of the Beast King. So my only choice is to catch one with full HP. Just putting this one out there, but would anyone like to see Leomon versus Pokémon Red? Let me know in the comments. I mean, if you want to, no pressure. This process leaves me with only 1 Pokeball for catching a Paras. Inside Mount Moon, I bump into a Paras pretty quickly, and I'd really rather not backtrack to buy more Pokeballs, so I do some damage with Hidden Power and pray to Breloom, the Mushroom King, that we can get this catch. Paras kindly agrees to stay in the ball, and I'm so delighted I decide to give it a nickname. Can't really think of any names though, so I just call it Beatrice, because Beatrice is a nice name. Anyway, if Weedle was our first big challenge, our second roadblock is a flying scoundrel called Zubat. Not this Zubat though, that was just a coincidence. The Zubat in question belongs to this man over here, who I've got a feeling might not be an entirely law-abiding citizen. Much like Weedle, Zubat has a 4 times resistance to fighting type moves, and to make matters worse, Leech Life lands super effective damage and heals Zubat up. So once again, it's time to call upon Unown's secret weapon. I come in with one hidden power left to one-shot the rat, which it does without so much as batting an eyelid. See? No blinking. Rocket sends out Zubat, and Struggle is great. It looks like we might need to strike thrice because of Leech Life. Never mind. This Unown is very good at getting crits. With that done, all that's left is to lose to the Fossil Maniac, fight a few more NPCs, and then exact revenge on the Fossil Man using Struggle. After arriving in Cerulean City, I stand in the gym for a while to get a feel for the air, and Unown uses its mysterious powers to let me know that this is the wrong course of action, so it must be time for a fight with John. This starts off pretty bad. Pidgeotto is quite the menace with its quick attack, but then things just sort of slot into place. Abra only has Teleport, Rattata is a one-shot, and the only Pokemon that could actually cause me any trouble spends the rest of the battle waggling its tail. I make my way up Nugget Bridge, losing a few fights along the way, and then come up against a Rocket with yet another Zubat. Okay, let's go to the gym. The first two trainers here are a piece of cake, and I'm pretty sure we're not going to be beating Misty anytime soon, but let's just have a go anyway. Staryu goes first with Water Gun and Hidden Power. Hey, that's pretty good. So Staryu is just 2 shots to KO, but of course, Starmie is a different story altogether. It resists Hidden Power and blows Unown away with its bubbles. Oh dear. Well, maybe Struggle is the way to go. So I come back with that setup and lose the battle time after time. I even start throwing in some rare candies, but there's absolutely no chance. Fortunately, Struggle is the way to go for Nugget Bridges. We can now fight basically everyone, including this innocent bystander that is just standing by all innocent-like. Have you ever met a bystander so innocent and bystandery? I throw the rare candies at Unown again, and buckle in for a difficult fight. It's kind of close. I think we just need some good luck. Well, here's that lucky battle. Hidden Power to almost one-shot Staryu and Struggle to finish it off. Starmie goes straight for Bubble Beam, and this looks like yet another hopeless fight. But then, Tackle misses. A critical Struggle, and it's still looking bad, but X defend. Oh, it's close. But Tackle misses again, Struggle finishes it off, and we take the badge with 1 HP remaining. On the SSN, I take on Sailor John, and my alphabet-themed monster completely devastates his team. I then teach Beatrice how to cut stuff, and she kindly clears this bush that's blocking the gym. I do wonder how the trainers in here manage to come to work every day. Maybe they just live here. We need to put our hand in all of these bins and try to find the switches, which is often the biggest challenge in this gym. Because, as most of these bins keep telling us, nope, there's only trash here. Having cleared the puzzle, we need to deal with such characters as Billiard Ball, whose sonic boom is a minor inconvenience, but overall poses no threat. Electro Mouse? Yeah. And New Nintendo Electro Mouse XL. Ooh, well, I probably had that coming. There's Growl, and that's another skin of your teeth style victory. I can't help but start to detect a bit of a pattern here. Although I'm not convinced Unown actually has any teeth. This fusion of Unown and Mawile certainly does though. The next stop on our journey is Rock Tunnel, where Unown unleashes the Triangle Punch of Doom on the exploding hiker. We can now head straight to Celadon City and give Unown the biggest glow up it's going to get today. Not 1, but 2 PP ups. In order to access Giovanni and get the Sylph Scope, I need to beat these 2 rockets, and I start with this one on the left. I beat his first 2 Pokemon, but then he sends out this absolute monster. What is the letter R supposed to do about a Sandslash? Hidden Power misses due to a programming oversight, and that's the 3rd time I've seen that today. The next one hits, but here comes Slash. Hidden Power fails to seal the deal, and that's the end of that. Fine, we'll go and fight the other one. This is a little more straightforward, but this one does have an Arbok that takes a good deal of beating. I don't think I've ever talked about these rockets on the channel before, but but that's probably because they've never really posed any kind of challenge. Unown levels up, and this seems like a good time to throw more rare candy at it. This time, Sandslash is fine, and let's go fight Giovanni. This is a classic Giovanni fight. He's at the very top of his game, following my hidden power up with a guard spec. And then when Unown reveals its power to Rhyhorn, he again responds with a guard spec. Kangaskhan starts off with Rage, so basically, we've won. We need to switch to Struggle, but Kangaskhan is completely locked into Rage. The only thing to disturb it is, you've guessed it, Giovanni using a guard spec. With the Fly HM and delicious refreshing beverage obtained, there is only one task left in Celadon, which is of course the famously forgettable gym leader who calls herself Erica. Well, forgettable is not a word I'd use for her today. In fact, I might even describe her as frightening. And I'm not just talking about Victory Bell's appearance, although that is also a point. Razorleaf crits, as it will, because it's Razorleaf, and then she follows up with Sleep Powder. Unown never stood a chance. Well, there's a slight possibility that was just bad luck, but another attempt soon puts that theory to bed. In order to win this fight, we're going to have to fast forward almost 2 hours into the future, which should look something like me beating up a large number of NPCs in high speed. Hopefully not too fast though, although let's be honest, it probably is quite fast. I actually don't know, since as I speak to you now, I've yet to start editing any video. Right, with Unown at level 44, we can finally put up something resembling a fight. Hidden power is still, what's the word? Ah yes, rubbish. And the wrap, the dreadful wrap. But at least it doesn't do much damage. Freed from the wrapping, I do the only thing I can do. Hidden power. And it crits, which is a very welcome development. After more wrapping, hidden power finishes the job. Tangler is a much easier fight, since it doesn't resist fisticuffs, and its constrict attack does a grand total of 1 HP of damage. Great, 1 Pokemon left. Hello! Oh, greetings Vileplume, how have you been? Hidden power against Vileplume is a similar story to Victory Bell. It's just bad, and all we can do is keep using it. I did try this battle with Struggle, but I just couldn't get it to work. Sleep Powder misses, and we're on the cusp of winning. Good. It's gonna take another 3 hidden powers, and Petal Dance is bad. There's number 2. It's very close, but Unown tanks the Petal Dance, and with 8 HP remaining, we take the 4th badge. And we can finally forget about Erica and her well-mannered Vileplume. Goodbye! Moving on to the Pokemon Tower, Spooky John is waiting for us, and thanks to Erica, we're even more overleveled than our previous run-in. This time, Pidgeotto is a one-shot. Oh, and he now has a Growlithe. Yep. Execute is going to take 2, but just look at the damage output of Barrage. It might as well be throwing ping-pong balls. Kadabra is another one-shot, and Wartortle seems to think Bite is a Dark-type move or something. It isn't. Dark-type doesn't even exist yet. And yeah, that was Spooky John. We can now head upstairs, and then after going upstairs we can walk across the 3rd floor, and then go up some more stairs, some thrilling narration here, and then walk over here, and really, all that's left for me to say is that, as always, I'd like to wish you a wonderful day, and I look forward to welcoming you back to another video soon. For now, bye!
I can say a backwards, which is docious, ali, expiastic, fragicali, rufus, but that's going a bit too far, don't you think?
Indubitably.